Thank you, Joyce.
Let's start with federal services. What's going to disappear first if this drags out, do you think?
Pretty much everything but Social Security, defense, airport operations. You're going to have trouble getting your usual services in national parks and other federal facilities. It's widespread. There'll be hundreds of thousands of federal workers who will be furloughed and won't be available to provide the services that Americans are used to obtaining.
And as you know, in our state alone, we have 80,000 federal workers. We have contractors tied to defense and aerospace. So how soon might they actually start feeling the financial squeeze?
Well, the contractors, along with employees, will be furloughed and they won't be paid. So even, as I understand it, even TSA staff at the airports, while they're required to go to work, won't be paid while they're at work. They'll get paid later on, presumably. That resulted in 2018, the last time there was a shutdown, in more and more of those workers calling in sick, which created very long lines at the airports. So travelers could be feeling the effects of the shutdown fairly soon if the impasse isn't resolved in the next week or so.
We've seen shutdowns before. This time around, how big of a deal do you think this could be for our state's economy?
I think it will be a significant impact. I don't know that it's larger than the impact we felt in 2018 or into 2019. I think it was about a 30-day shutdown last time. That's quite long. There have been 15 shutdowns since 1981, but many of them have been, shorter than 30 days. So, as I look at the reasons this impasse is occurring, and Democrats and Republicans haven't agreed on a continuing resolution to continue funding the government, I think it's possible for them to resolve this much sooner than 30 days. The Democrats want a permanent extension of a tax credit that helps 22 million Americans buy insurance in the Affordable Care Act insurance marketplaces. That measure is scheduled to expire at the end of this year. They want to renew it, make it permanent now. That's something that seems to me that Republicans and Democrats could hammer out. Many Republicans also want to extend that tax credit. If that is the main issue separating them, I think the Democrats ought to be given their pound of flesh, be able to score a victory there and get the government reopened.
Beyond that, where do you think there is room for compromise? Because as you know, both sides are pointing fingers and blaming the other side. And Americans just want to know, where's there room for a compromise and what's it going to look like?
I think there's room for compromise around this tax credit that a lot of Americans who rely on the Affordable Care Act use to pay for that insurance, to be able to afford it. So there's an obvious area for compromise. There are deep differences, not only between Republicans and Democrats, but within the respective parties over levels of government spending. Fiscal hawks on the Republican side don't think that there have been enough cuts in the federal budget to reduce the federal deficit. And the federal budget deficit is itself a contentious issue, as is the size of the national debt, which is well north of $30 trillion and now consumes a large part of the federal budget just to pay the interest cost of that debt. So there's that structural concern as well. But that isn't going to be solved overnight. Neither are some of these other issues, except this tax for Affordable Care Act insurance in the marketplaces is something I think they can compromise on fairly quickly.
And then finally, when it comes to the president's threats of these massive federal worker layoffs, can the administration do that? Is it legal? Is it illegal? And two of the largest unions for federal workers say it's not legal and they're suing. What's your thought on that as a former attorney general?
There are a lot of protections for federal workers in terms of the process that has to be followed to fire people, to lay off large numbers of them. So I think that the unions are right. They do have strong legal arguments. That, of course, hasn't prevented the administration so far from closing down certain agencies or gutting their workforces, as we saw with USAID. So the administration, the executive branch, does have leverage as well. But I do think that the unions, given civil service protections, also have strong arguments.
Well, this is day one. It remains to be seen how many days this could last. At least 3, it looks like. We'll talk with you again, I'm assuming very soon, and I hope so. Rob McKenna, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Joyce.